Hey everyone, how you doing? My name's Stephanie, for those of you that don't know me, and I teach people how to make changes to their drinking. I'm going to do a little intro about me for those of you that don't know me, and then I'm going to talk about how to reduce your drinking, some of the key points I want you to be aware of, okay? So, I have 16 years personal and professional experience, probably coming up to 17 actually, in terms of changing my relationship with alcohol. So I won't go on about it too much, but I'm alcohol free and alcohol is no longer a problem for me. And if you're interested, check out my free ebook or the book on Amazon. There is no magic button to read more about my story. But the bit that's really relevant for you guys is I've done pretty much every job there is to do within behaviour change and treatment services, treatment worker, drug and alcohol worker, family worker, group worker, service manager. I have run 3 different drug and alcohol treatment services, and now I run a community interest company called Women Who Don't Drink, and we do lots of things all around supporting women to change their relationship with alcohol, as well as supporting new coaches to do this work as well. So let's talk about alcohol. Alcohol is a drug. I really want you to remember this. Sometimes it can be really helpful, well, not sometimes, it is really helpful to frame it as a drug, because that's what it is. So quite often people talk about alcohol and drugs, which technically is incorrect because alcohol is a drug. But if we just said drugs, most people would think we were talking about cannabis and cocaine and heroin, and they would think we weren't talking about alcohol when actually we are, yeah? So the first thing I want you to do is be clear about alcohol being a drug. It is a drug that you take that alters the way that you think and feel. It's a legal drug, yes, but just because it's legal, that doesn't mean that it's safe and it's harmless. In fact, I like to argue that alcohol is our most harmful substance. The thing with alcohol is it is also a physically addicted drug. Okay, so that basically means if you consume alcohol in significant quantities every day, the chances are you might have built up a physical addiction, yeah? Now, there is no set amount for this, but for a woman as a guideline, we are talking about 18 units or more. So 18 units looks like about 2 bottles of wine. That doesn't mean that if you drink less than 18 units, you're not physically addicted to alcohol, but it's unlikely, yeah? Now, how we assess dependency, I can't teach you how to do that, you know, in a 20-minute video. So if you think that might be you, please feel free to message me or have a conversation with your doctor. That's probably the best thing to do. So the problem with alcohol is we can build up a physical addiction if we drink significant amounts daily, but there are other factors involved in this: medication, physical health, mental health, our gender, our age. There's all sorts of stuff going on, okay? So it's not as simple as the amounts of alcohol. Also, if you're a binge drinker, you can still build up a physical addiction. So imagine you drink Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you drink quite significant amounts. You stop drinking, then what we would see potentially is a physical withdrawal. So symptoms of withdrawal are anxiety, shaking, paranoia, hallucinations, sweating, whole body shakes, fits, psychosis, and alcohol withdrawal can be fatal. And that's why it's pretty much at the beginning of all my stuff where I'm doing teaching to people that aren't in my coaching groups or working with me one-to-one, okay? So one of the first things you can do is get really clued up on your units. Now, if you Google unit calculator, then you'll be able to figure it out from there, okay? So figure out how much you're drinking, go from there. If you're concerned, please feel free to message me or contact your doctor or a specialist alcohol worker that is trained to assess physical dependency. Now, the key bit with this is if you think you might have a physical addiction, we do not want you to stop suddenly, because withdrawal can be fatal. Yeah, so this is why we talk about reducing. All right. Now, I am a massive fan of anybody reducing their drinking. Now, obviously there's a bit around reducing. If you have a physical addiction, you will need to reduce slowly for safety reasons. However, lots of people can and do reduce. So at the moment, we've got this wonderful thing happening where alcohol-free is very popular. So abstinence is very, very prominent. Sober, abstinence, alcohol-free, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. You know, it's out there, which is great, and people are talking about it's fantastic. However, there are a lot of people that don't want or don't need to be abstinent, and actually reducing is good enough for them, and that is absolutely okay. Now, there's a lot of people talking about it's not possible to reduce. It absolutely is possible to reduce, and as a trained alcohol worker, I recommend that with quite a lot of my clients. And actually quite a lot of people just want to reduce, and that's fine. Now, the caveat to this is if you come to me and do a free consultation, I do free consultations for anybody who's looking at having coaching in my world. If I think you need to be abstinent because your alcohol is causing you significant harm, then I will tell you. I will say you probably need to get your head around being abstinent. But that's only a very small number of people. For a lot of people, you can reduce, okay? Now, when I talk to people about reducing, one of the other things I want them to think about is appropriate use of the drug. So somebody will come to me and they will say, I want to reduce my alcohol use, and I'll say, that's great. What do you want that to look like? So be specific. What do you want that to look like? Now, how I would like it to look for you is as many alcohol-free days as possible and being able to have 1 or 2 drinks, yeah, and enjoy those drinks. So I want you to think about appropriate use of the drug. Alcohol is a drug. And one of the things that we can say about alcohol is it is a social lubricant. So it's a social drug. So appropriate use of the drug would be something like meeting a friend in a pub, having a meal with a friend, having a glass of champagne at a celebration. Yeah, appropriate use of the drug. So be honest with yourself. How are you using the drug alcohol? Are you using it as a crutch to cope, or has it become a habit, or all of these? Yeah. So somebody who is using alcohol every day, even if you're having 1 glass, okay, so 1 glass of wine, 1 beer, it's not the end of the world, is it? But I would really like you to have some alcohol-free days, yeah? We don't want anybody using a harmful, addictive substance daily, yeah? We just don't want that. We want you having alcohol-free days, and we want you being aware of how you're using the drug. So are you using it because you're stressed out? Are you using it to escape? Are you using it to numb? You know, is it just become that daily habit when you come home from work? Yeah. Be honest with yourself about how you're using alcohol and be prepared to change that up. Yeah. Okay. So when you're thinking about reducing, I want you to get really clear on what that looks like. Be intentional, be specific. I want to see some alcohol-free days in there, as many as possible. I would like you to be able to have 1 or 2 drinks. I would like you to be able to take it or leave it. The other caveat to this is, if you're now, not initially when you're reducing, but maybe a bit further in, if you're reducing and you've reduced quite a lot and you're having alcohol-free days, and that's great, and you can have a couple of drinks, if you're thinking about it all the time, that's like the next step. You know, we want to do some work around you not thinking about it. The last thing we want you to be doing is spending your time thinking about alcohol. So although I'm talking about reducing today, because really that is the first step for a lot of people, there is another conversation to be had a bit further in around making alcohol insignificant. So sometimes what can happen is people get so clued into their reducing and rules around that, becomes a little bit obsessive, and they find themselves thinking about alcohol a lot. In that situation, I would be recommending that you take a break from alcohol so that you sort of clear that from your head, change some things up, and then maybe reintroduce if that's appropriate. Yeah, very small amounts. But obviously I would want to have a conversation with someone about that. So the key things we want to look at as well around reducing are changing habits. A lot of this stuff is about habit, okay? Routine, you know, coming home from work, having a drink, you know, where do you have a drink? Who do you have a drink with? How do you feel? What time is it? Get really clear on your habits around alcohol and be prepared to change it up. It doesn't matter if even if you just do this really simply, like, so somebody will say to me, I always have a drink watching the TV in the evening. Okay, don't watch TV in the evening, go and do something different. Changing your evening routine. I know that isn't always possible for people, but just have a look at how your habits and routines are around alcohol and see what you can change up. A lot of this stuff is about trial and error, trying things out and seeing what works. Yeah. The key bit here as well to remember is you are taking something away. So when we take something away, we want to replace it with something essentially. Now, not for all of you, but for most of you, alcohol will be giving you something. What is the positive intention of your drinking? What is it giving you? Relaxation, escape, time out, me time, treat and reward, comfort. There can be many things, many positive intentions behind what we're doing, yeah? It's not the alcohol you need, it's the me time or the time out or the escape or to numb or to relax. All these things you can learn to do for yourself, okay? Now, we've already talked a bit about counting units. Counting calories might work as well. So sometimes people, you know, when I've been working with them a little while, they'll say, I want to lose weight. I'll be like, okay, alcohol is empty calories. There is nothing of any use whatsoever in alcohol. So sometimes being really clear about the amount of calories that you're consuming can really help. For some people, not for everyone. So calories, units, money. Sometimes these things, being aware of how much we're consuming day, week, month, year, can help us to reduce. Yeah. Remember I said plan, be intentional, get clear on what your reduction looks like. Now, some sneaky ways to go about this. It really does depend on how your brain works as to which ones will work for you. So sometimes you can swap your alcoholic drink for a lower percentage. So think wine is really sort of between 12 and 14%. Can you get a lower percentage wine, like a 7% or a 9%? Can you swap that down to a lager, which is 4%, or a cider even, maybe 5 or 6%, depending on what type of cider you're drinking. So can you reduce the percentage of the alcohol you are drinking? For instance, if somebody comes to me and they're drinking whiskey, I would suggest they go to wine and then lager. Yeah. So that way you're not really noticing that you're reducing, because you're probably drinking the same volume, but you're consuming a lot less units, okay? Smaller bottles can sometimes work. So if you're the type of person that will drink what you've got in the house, so then it starts in the supermarket, doesn't it? So only buy what you intend to drink. Yeah, no more than that. So sometimes buying a smaller bottle will work for some people. Using mixers. So making sure that you dilute it, you know, using a tonic water or soda water or a sparkling water. This changes the taste of it. Again, changing habits. It dilutes it, which is always good. Hopefully getting some, you know, if it's sparkling water, you're getting some water in as well, which is great because alcohol dehydrates you. So we want to get as much water in there as we can. But also the idea is then that you drink that slowly and you drink less of what you would normally drink. Like I say, these things don't always work for everyone, but sometimes at least one of them does. It can be a little bit sneaky and it can work. Delaying your start time can be really good. So another thing that works for people is making sure that you're not hungry. So making sure that you're not hungry or thirsty. So making sure that you stay hydrated throughout the day, you don't drink too much caffeine, you eat good healthy meals, lots of lovely protein, fruit, veg, good carbs. that you eat your evening meal as early as possible. A lot of people will say that once they've eaten, they don't want to have a drink, and it really helps with those cravings, yeah? So delay your start time, eat your evening meal earlier. You know, if you're somebody that doesn't get home till 6 o'clock, you know, maybe you have your lunch at work at 12, 1, can you have a snack at 4 that's going to keep you going? You know, some nuts, some seeds, apple and nut butter, you know, a little protein bar, protein shake, you know, whatever suits your diet, but get some good quality food in so that you're not hungry, and then when you get home you can cook something. Delay your start time. Maybe try out some alcohol-free drinks. Again, doesn't work for everyone. It can really work for some people. It's that placebo thing. I've got a friend that stopped drinking and he drinks alcohol-free beers and alcohol-free Guinness, and it really works for him. He really enjoys it, treats it in exactly the same way, doesn't miss anything. He actually feels like he gets a little bit tiddly off it as well, which is highly entertaining. Smaller glasses. So many moons ago, some of you may remember that our mums drank from, and our grannies drank from, these tiny 125ml glasses. If you haven't got any, go and check out your charity shops. There are some beautiful crystal 125ml glasses in there. You will be amazed, it looks like a thimble, yeah? So smaller glasses, that can work for some people as well. Now, when we start making changes to our drinking, a lot of this is about habit and learning, okay? There is so much information that I can give you. I can't give it to all of you in one go. It'll probably be 8 hours. You wouldn't take it all in. And actually the biggest thing with this is about learning, and is about small things implemented over a period of time, yeah? So get your head around that this is about learning, yeah? And the good news is you are a learning machine. You are a human being and you are a learning machine, so you can learn. You haven't always been drinking. You've built this habit up. It's taken time for you to get here. It's going to take time for you to unpick. Now, yes, some people just stop drinking and that's it. Great, fantastic. But sometimes it takes people time, all right? So it's really important that you get your head around and get yourself into it, that it is a learning thing. It's a learning frame. It takes us time to learn how to drive. It takes us time to learn how to write, how to read. You know, if we learn a sport or a game, all these things take time. How to be in relationships, how to parent, stuff like that, okay? So sometimes it can take time. So there's some common things that we see in terms of what it takes to make changes. Making changes, changing things, you know, if things stay the same, nothing changes. Patience, persistence, and support, yeah? And self-compassion, being nice to yourself. You know, say you do 5 days alcohol-free and you have a drink, so what? Yeah, no one died, nobody got arrested. You just did 5 days alcohol-free. Focus on progress, not perfection, okay? Now, one of the best ways, I think, to get support with this is my accountability group. So it is a small secret Facebook group, small group of ladies working together, all at different stages, all working towards different goals. Non-judgmental, safe space with my experts in there as well. We do weekly live Zoom calls. We do Facebook Live recaps. I get guest experts in, and you get access to my video coaching program as well. It's £29 a month, which is a bargain. As one of the ladies says, you get a lot of bang for your buck. So if you want to make changes to your drinking, and well, if you're serious about making changes to your drinking, I highly recommend you sign up to the accountability group. £29 a month, you can cancel anytime. You know, worst case scenario, you do it for a couple of months, it's not working for you, you can try and do something else. But the majority of women that come into my world reduce their drinking or stop drinking and significantly improve the quality of their life. I will pop the link with this video. Any questions, please ask, and I'll see you soon.